This is Campus News, reporting the top stories from colleges and universities.
Next on Campus News.
There's a new leader at the head of the herd.
Prices at the gas pump continue to go up. College students might want to use these solutions in the fight for funds.
This former Dragons quarterback is lighting up draft boards.
Powerful performances paint the plains at this annual event. Good morning and welcome to Campus News. I'm Sayla Jacoy.
And I'm Jade Milner. With fraud in Minnesota receiving national attention, the Minnesota State Colleges and Universities Cybersecurity Team is working to prevent a new type of fraud.
It's one that may make professors take a second look when taking attendance. Reporter Nate Cohn is joining us in studio to tell us more about this growing problem. Good morning, Nate. Now, what's the latest update here?
Yeah, good morning, Sayla. Good morning, Jade. Well, it's something that you might not expect. There's yet another chapter in Minnesota's fight against fraud. This one directly impacting college students, with nearly 8,000 attempts being made to steal education funding. I found out what these fraudsters are doing and how colleges are being protected at the state level, including Minnesota State Moorhead.
Colleges and universities across the nation have quickly become a primary target for fraudsters.
With fraud at the front of Minnesota issues, colleges and universities are seeing an increase of a new type of student. They've been labeled ghost students. They use stolen identities to collect financial aid funding. But when the semester begins, ghost students turn classrooms into ghost towns.
I mean, it's kind of the ultimate scam in some ways. They've used fake IDs, fake addresses, get the money, and then get out of Dodge.
Ghost students have stolen nearly $90 million nationwide, targeting mostly two-year community colleges. Now, four-year universities like Minnesota State Moorhead are seeing an increase in fraudulent applications.
I've also had somebody from admissions reach out with a student's name and ask me, have I seen this student? Have I talked to this student?
The applications are often put together by organized crime groups.
They're international. They're not residents of the state of Minnesota or even in the United States for that matter. And so because we're popular for discussion around fraudulent activities, we have seen it, more attempts, that's for sure.
To combat this, Craig Munson and his team are asking for funding from Minnesota lawmakers to eliminate the manual process of checking student identities.
An automated identity proofing system is more flexible than manual processes, allowing us to rapidly react to the ever-changing attack patterns and techniques the fraudsters throw at us every day.
But I'm seeing a little bit of an arms race between their AI technology versus what we use at the system.
Regardless of if Munson and the team are able to secure the estimated $1 to $1.5 million to improve their systems, the fight to protect Minnesota State colleges and universities from fraud is one they won't give up.
You know, they're passionate about fighting this. They don't want the attackers to win. It's personal for our team, and so we look at it constantly.
Nate Cohn, Campus News. Munson says that while some financial aid fraud in the state system can make it through, his team has been able to keep it to a minimum compared to other colleges and universities. And if they can secure the funding, prevention will continue to improve. So Sayla and Jade will have to see if they're able to get that funding that they need for an automated system.
Thank you so much, Nate, for that report. I'm looking forward to the changes in the future. And moving forward, North Dakota State University has selected its newest president. Dr. Marshall Stewart was selected out of 3 finalists by the State Board of Higher Education.
Reporter Nathan Stang takes us to NDSU to hear how Stewart plans to lead the university.
And so it is my distinct privilege and honor to introduce to you the 16th president of North Dakota State University, Dr. Marshall Stewart. Welcome.
NDSU is welcoming Marshall Stewart as its 16th president. Stewart has held leadership roles at North Carolina State University and the University of Missouri, where he served as the Chief Engagement Officer. He's currently the Executive Vice President at Kansas State University. Now, though, he has his eyes set on the future.
I can't promise you perfection, but I will give you perfect effort every single day. And together, we're going to take this place to places you could never dream of, and I can't either, because that's what great leadership does.
Inside the NDSU ballroom, faculty, students, and music Burke welcomed Stewart to campus. As he steps into the role, Stewart says his focus is centered on those who make up NDSU.
You know, this is the people's university. And so as I make my entry here, I want you to remember that. We are about the people, first and foremost, of this great state of North Dakota.
Those who were part of the selection process say they were looking for someone willing to take the next steps to strengthen the university's future.
We wanted someone bold who was going to commit to taking NDSU to a new level of excellence, to bringing NDSU's excellence to the nation and also internationally.
Looking ahead, Stewart says success will come from uniting the campus.
But at the end of the day, we're going to be one NDSU. One. Because I want to see us one. Because when we're together, we're bigger. And when we're together, we're more powerful. And that's what we're going to be.
Stewart also says growing enrollment and creating a world-class student experience together will be key priorities moving forward. With photographer Dallas Carell, Nathan Stang. Campus News.
Stewart is set to take over as president on May 28th, replacing interim president Rick Berg. And Bismarck State College has also selected a new president. The State Board of Higher Education selected Brian Kalk out of 4 finalists. Kalk say his experience in natural research and energy made the job a natural fit. He's currently the University of North Dakota's Chief Research Officer and the Energy and Environment Research Center. Bismarck State has multiple programs tied to the energy industry. Kalk was a public service commissioner for 8 years, which regulates North Dakota's energy.
Alcohol abuse impacts nearly 28 million people, affecting mental health and physical wellness. Reporter Hallie Sanders learned how a doctor's research could alter the way alcohol dependency is viewed in the science community.
At Concordia's annual Nornis Neuroscience Lecture, Dr. Chloe Erickson, a postdoctoral fellow at Scripps Research in California, is sharing her work on how heavy drinking can impact the brain.
Today I'm focused on a lot about how alcohol use disorder leads to this upregulation of our brain's pro-stress system.
Alcohol use disorder is the medical diagnosis for levels of harmful drinking. Erickson's research focuses on how this disorder could be affected by one understudied region of the brain.
Is that my favorite brain region, the cerebellum, also seems to play a large role in stress, as it has this stress system, and that it also becomes really disrupted following chronic alcohol use.
The cerebellum is sensitive to alcohol, affecting motor coordination and balance. But Erickson is studying how it could affect much more than balance, influencing symptoms like depression and anxiety.
Cerebellum plays a large role in emotional behavior and higher order thinking and reward, and even, as I'll talk about today, stress.
In her presentation, Dr. Chloe Erickson mentions that drinking behaviors in college age groups has decreased, but for the first time ever, that data is showing an interesting new trend. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, drinking behaviors in college women is outpacing that of the men.
That this period of self-isolation from friends and family was likely this potent psychological stressor, especially in women, that drove them to use alcohol as a means of relief.
Erickson hopes that from her research, people gather a new appreciation for the cerebellum and strive to better understand how all these symptoms get disrupted.
Targeting the cerebellum might be a ripe region for the treatment of not only alcohol use disorder, but a variety of neuropsychiatric disorders.
With photographer Celia Bierke, Hallie Sanders, Campus News.
While at Concordia, Dr. Erickson also lectured in the classroom. Over the week, Erickson was a guest teacher in both introductory and advanced neuroscience classes. She also served as a judge for Concordia's Innovation Challenge, where students compete to find potential solutions to real-world problems. Despite her busy schedule, Dr. Erickson still spoke with students one-on-one about their interests in science.
To see kind of how that process and hear about how she ended up where she is, and then especially also because she has that shared interest in psychology, has been super cool.
We've got some really great people who are going to continue on this legacy of, finding and discovering new things.
Dr. Erickson says by providing varied opportunities to connect and explain challenging concepts like neurophysiology, the easier it will be for students to understand.
As gas prices climb across the country, college students are feeling the pressure, not just at the pump, but in their everyday spending. Reporter Nathan Stang found out how rising costs are changing students' life on campus.
After seeing gas prices at their lowest in 4 years, they are now on the rise, and for some college students, the impact is going beyond the pump. Preston Miller is a student at MSUM who lives off campus, driving around the area and occasionally making the hour-and-a-half trip home. He says even those everyday costs are starting to add up.
It's not more so how much I go out, it's kind of about how much I spend maybe on groceries and just little things.
For some students already balancing tuition, rent, and groceries, higher gas prices are forcing some difficult trade-offs.
Maybe you won't go out with friends because I'm spending more money on gas now, or I won't get certain things from the grocery store that maybe I need because I'm spending also more on gas.
Economic experts say the increase is impacting some students more than others.
But if you are a student who commutes from somewhere else and on top of that you drive for work, then gas prices will hurt you quite a bit.
Gas prices like these are becoming more common across the country, and for students that means finding more ways to save, whether that's using a gas reward card, traveling somewhere else, or cutting back on trips.
But now that we're approaching spring, maybe you can bicycle and help you instead of driving. Maybe you can do that. Maybe you can use public transportation more. Maybe you can share carpool with a friend who goes to the same job that you have.
As gas prices continue to rise, students may have to learn how to adapt, making changes not just in how they spend, but how they travel. The photographer Dallas Carell, Nathan Stang, Campus News.
Gas prices have increased as the conflict between the United States and Iran continues. And a conference at Minnesota State Moorhead shined a light on the power of women's revolution and the work still left to do. This year's Red River Women's Studies Conference explored themes of feminism, art, and resistance. The conference brought together artists, scholars, and activists to explore how creative expression can give women a voice to speak about gender issues. One artist shared how she uses her creative skills to turn pain into positivity.
Painting and drawing is my main one that I do. I personally have gone through a lot of hardships. I could take what's happened to me and I could be destructive, but I want to make something that builds up instead of tears down.
Artists say that a sense of connection brings people together, turning individual stories into a shared experience. And a long-awaited transformation on MSUM's campus is nearly complete. Weld Hall is wrapping up a significant renovation project that modernizes classrooms and performance venues.
Reporter Jacob Anderson took us a tour inside Weld Hall and tells us how excited the campus is for its reopening.
2.5 years and $23 million later, MSUM's oldest building on campus is ready to reopen this fall. A rebuild that has been in the works for as long as 15 years.
We started doing pre-design work back in 2012, 2014, and submitting the project for consideration to the system office and for legislative consideration in 2016.
Weld Hall is getting brand new mechanical systems, new windows, and a full sprinkler system. Glasgow Auditorium will be adding 90 seats, making it an upscale experience for attending events.
One of the most visible changes is the restoration of the grand balcony, which was removed in Weld Hall's first renovation in 1969.
You can see on the sidewall under that first arch where the plasters that's how far the balcony came out in the original construction. The original stained glass windows that were part of the Weld building were removed in the 60s, and we hung them over in the library at some point to display them. As part of this project, we're bringing them back, and we're going to put them back in their original location.
Not only will the balcony and stained glass windows be coming back, but the English department will also be returning to its original home after being across the campus mall in McLean Hall.
Like a few others, I haven't unpacked stuff that I haven't unpacked boxes I had from over in Weld the first time. So, the move is going to be a little easier. It's just put a new label on them and send them back over.
Before the English department can move back home, there is no shortage of things to do. Painting, plumbing, and the path for a new entrance to Weld are being finished on the north side of the building.
We have all the furniture yet to purchase and get here, and all of the technology equipment to get back in here. So we'll move those things in, and we'll be ready for classes in August.
With its historic features restored and modern upgrades in place, Weld Hall is once again taking center stage on MSUM's campus. Jacob Anderson, Campus News.
The renovation project has reached a 90% completion mark and is expected to finish on May 7th. A group of Minnesota State Moorhead students spent an evening volunteering at Great Plains Food Bank. The event was put together by the Dragon Entertainment Group to give students a chance to give back to the community. While at the food bank, the group packed rice to be donated. Event organizers say giving back to the community is a rewarding experience for students.
I think it's very important to do. It's something to get out there and do with your own time, and it doesn't cost anything, and it has a good purpose along with it.
The Great Plains Food Bank serves over 150,000 people each year.
The Film Studies Club Frame by Frame held a weekend competition where students had to rush to make a movie. Reporter Alexander Vicaire followed the filmmakers over the weekend.
At 7 p.m. Friday, students gather at the Roland Dills Center for the Arts on the campus of Minnesota State University Moorhead, buzzing with anticipation as the start of the weekend film challenge draws near. They are randomly placed into groups of 8 and have little hope of sleep for the next 48 hours. Each group receives a surprise prompt and an assigned genre. From that moment, the clock is ticking.
We are a college campus, so we have a lot of resources, but we don't have a lot of resources. But like I said, I feel like that just kind of plays into the talent of all these beautiful individuals, just in terms of like taking things and being able to pull them off with very little.
After a long night of writing, as well as midnight location scouting, the bulk of Saturday would see the filmmakers shooting their films, while performing in the roles they wrote for themselves, using whatever resources they had available to them.
I feel like the most difficult part about this 48-hour will definitely be the shooting process, because I feel like that's when all the differing opinions and conflicts will kind of arise from what people, like their visions of what they want the film to look like. And a lot of times those like logistical things don't appear until you're on set, and people are like, wait, but how is this going to work then?
As the clock begins to run out, crew members scramble to get the last of the shots they need, and run to the editing room to finish their final cut, as they have but only minutes left to deliver their films.
And all that hard work culminated in tonight's premiere, which will showcase all of the movies that students worked on in the past 48 hours.
The Weekend Film Challenge is like a masterclass in collaboration, time management, improvisation, and filmmaking.
The premiere showed all 5 films from the genres of science fiction, gangster, detective noir, romantic comedy, and horror. Alexander Vicaire, Campus News.
The Minnesota State Moorhead Film Club runs the 48-hour film challenge once a year. And researchers at Iowa State University are developing an app that uses artificial intelligence to help farmers. Artie Sign is one of many researchers behind Pest ID. It's an AI app that allows farmers to take pictures of weeds or insects among their crops and receive information on what they are and how to remove them within seconds. The app has been in development for roughly a decade, with researchers training the technology using millions of images of weed and insects, along with data collected by Iowa State University experts.
And if we are not making friends with AI, we are losing on power to do things which we were not earlier able to do.
While the app is still being developed, the current version is available right now.
A small-town quarterback from Bloomer, Wisconsin is turning heads on the national stage as he prepares for a potential shot at the NFL. Jack Strand is proving that no matter where you start, big opportunities can follow. Reporter Cora Bowl takes us through his journey.
Jack Strand grew up with big dreams, determined to one day reach NFL's highest level. That journey brought him to Minnesota State University Moorhead, where he played Division II football far from the spotlight of Power 5 programs, but never short on drive. At MSUM, Strand's leadership quickly stood out. He was given a role that reflected both his work ethic and character.
Being the best player, the best person I could be, the best teammate that I could be. And so I'd say like the biggest accomplishment that I would say was probably being named team captain my junior and senior year.
In 42 career games, the 6'5" quarterback threw for more than 13,000 yards and 135 touchdowns, numbers now turning heads at the next level.
His arm strength definitely stood out. I think his processing speed is a great strength as a player. His ability to make a decision on where he's going to throw it, who, when, why, how fast.
NFL scouts are taking notice, with some projecting Strand as a late-round pick, one calling him the top Division II prospect on the board.
At the end of the day, it's just football. It's the same game, that I've played for my entire life.
That mindset helped open doors, including an opportunity at the American Bowl, where Strand had the chance to connect directly with NFL teams.
The whole American Bowl experience was really cool, and I got a chance to talk to a lot of NFL teams there.
Despite not receiving an invite to the NFL Combine, Jack earned an opportunity at NDSU's Pro Day. From small-town roots to NFL opportunity, Strand's journey is more about where he started. It's about who he is.
You would never regret having Jack in your organization, on your team.
I mean, it'd be a cool experience to go play in Green Bay, but whatever team I end up going to.
With photographer Jalen Wagner, Cora Bull, Campus News.
The last time a player from the NCIS was selected in the NFL draft was in 2019, when offensive lineman Trey Pipkins was taken in the 3rd round by the Los Angeles Chargers. NDSU Wrestling is making a major move on the national stage. The Bison announced they are moving to the Pac-12 Conference after spending their last 11 seasons in the Big 12 Conference. South Dakota State, Northern Colorado, and Air Force are also moving from the Big 12 to the Pac-12. Bison wrestling coach Obenson Blanc says their staff is very excited about the opportunity to compete in the Pac-12 and sets the Bison up for national championship success. It will be the Bison's 3rd league change since joining Division I wrestling in 2004.
2 players on the MSU Moorhead softball team have spent their lives side by side, and it shows every time they play. Reporter Jalen Wagner takes us to practice to see how their connection sparks on the field.
MSU Moorhead softball team is back on the field, going through drills and taking swings. But 2 of these players are more than just teammates. They're also sisters. Andrea Garcia is an outfielder and first base player, while older sister Lisa Garcia plays 2nd and 3rd.
It's really fun to be having that college experience with my sister, because that's all I wanted growing up.
Probably didn't want to go to college without my sister, I think, and also the softball program, academics as well. But I think just coming here with her, so I chose MSUM.
The sisters were born just 10 months apart and come from Linwood, California. Head coach Vanessa Kellum says it's a plus having both sisters on the team.
It didn't give me the opportunity of I had to pick one over the other. I was like, great, I get to have both. And they're obviously sisters, so they've been working with each other and they know how each other work, and kind of having that dynamic of already having someone here so far from home was really a blessing as a coach.
Playing at MSUM is more than just about the game. It's about having each other support every step of the way.
I think I bring a lot of positivity, because I like hyping each other up, and I don't know, just being positive with each other. My sister, I don't know, she's just really fun to be around. She's goofy, and everyone just loves cracking jokes.
I think it's just because we're really close and we're best friends, and just having that person with me feels amazing here.
With the season coming to an end, the sisters are gaining experience with each game and continuing to build something special together on the field. With photographer Zach Swery, Jalen Wigner, Campus News.
The 2 sisters hope to continue playing together at MSU Moorhead in the future.
MSU Moorhead's Office of Diversity and Inclusion invited a special guest to talk about the struggles minority groups have in trying to farm in Minnesota and show a film about this issue. Chrissy Goulet is a member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa and an advocate for Indigenous farming. Goulet's story was featured in the documentary This Land, Access and Equity in Minnesota. The film examines why so few Black, Indigenous, and people of color farm in Minnesota, including how hard it is to buy land. Goulet says the next generation needs to be inspired to farm.
We could have community programs where we have young people working with elders, and they can go and help them in their garden or their flowers or whatever it is, So the elders can pass knowledge, but the young people can learn that knowledge.
The audience was able to decorate flower pots to take with them as they learned about challenges Indigenous farmers face. It was a celebration of Native American culture through music, dance, and tradition at the 35th Annual Woodlands and High Plains Powwow.
Reporter Carter Powell takes us to the celebration of tradition and tribe.
Drums echoed and dancers filled Nemzik Fieldhouse at MSUM as the community gathered for a powwow celebrating Native American culture and tradition. Many here started dancing at a young age and passed that tradition down to the next generation.
I started when I was just old enough to walk, and just like my kiddos here and my grandkiddos, you know, so as soon as they could start walking, they're up in regalia and at these powwows.
The dancers are moving to the beat of the host drum, the Manoomin Singers. Each piece of the dancer's regalia is typically handcrafted and holds deep cultural and spiritual significance for the wearer and their community. For those taking part, the welcoming atmosphere makes for a great environment.
It just feels like very special to me as a dancer, getting to show like my skills, other people showing their dancing skills, and it just feels like a very warm, special event.
And beyond the performances, it's the connections that keep people coming back.
I absolutely love it. It feels like a family reunion. You get to come here, see some family who live a distance away, friends, you know, other dancers that you haven't seen in the circle for a while, so it really feels like a homecoming.
With dances and drum beats, this powwow was all about culture and community, a way to honor and celebrate Native American tradition. With photographer Zach Sweary, Carter Powell, Campus News.
The Woodlands and High Plains Powwow is sponsored by 4 regional universities, including Minnesota State Moorhead, NDSU, Concordia, and NDSCS in Wahpeton.
And that's it for this edition of Campus News.
We leave you with more from this year's Woodlands and High Plains Powwow.
Thanks for joining us and have a great week.
Campus News is produced by the Television News Workshop in the School of Communication and Journalism at Minnesota State University Moorhead, in cooperation with Prairie Public Television.